Good morning, Year 8. I'm Miss Fitzgerald, and today marks the start of a really exciting period for you, and that's your Key Stage 4 option choices. Throughout this process over the next month and a half, I'll be guiding you through how to make the best choices possible. Continuing on the really important work we do around your character and of course your Year 8 graduation, 3 key words that are going to be really critical, really central to the work that you do, and that's empowered, curious and organised. And throughout today and tomorrow's videos, I'm going to talk to you about how you'll be able to build and work and develop on those character strengths. So let's get started. This video is a chance for you to get many of your questions answered. And as Mr. Kenrick said in his video, that's absolutely critical, getting your questions answered. So this video will talk about why these choices are so important. We'll talk about what your curriculum is going to look like as you move into Year 9. We'll talk about the process and all of the ways that you'll be able to get help and advice, and of course, how you can actually go about making such important choices with some advice and so on. So firstly, why are your choices so important? Well, of course, your choices influence your everyday happiness and engagement in your lessons. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, that can start to have an effect on how you're feeling about your day. So we have to get these choices right. Your subjects, your choices, they'll influence what you do at sixth form, which is the step beyond Warden Park, and those qualifications that you might take. Subjects that you choose are often used to assess your suitability for a university course, and they might, and I say the word might, influence your job applications well into the future. And that's of course depending on what it is you actually go on to do. They could inspire your career choice. That said, a lot of your careers that you will do one day, they don't actually exist yet. So what we have to do at Warden Park is give you the best sort of available opportunity to develop skills and qualities that will go on to make you the best person that you can be, and suitable and able to do any job or any career that you want to in your future. You will study this subject for 3 years, so throughout 9, 10 and 11, this will be the subject that you study. So absolutely critical we get it right, because you will be in it for a long time. And more often than not, we try to keep you with that same teacher. So we've got to get the balance of the subjects that you're going to choose as right as we can. And lastly, whilst I will always try and accommodate changes, and when we get into Year 9, it will be possible to make a change, but depending on what you've chosen and the combination of your subjects, it's not always possible. So it's better if we get it right the first time around. One of the key things students always want to know is what you'll be studying in the hours and how it will be different from what you have in Year 8. So your curriculum will look like this. You will of course still have English, maths and science. English, you'll actually be studying English language and literature, and you'll have English for 8 hours a fortnight. Maths, you'll also have for 8 hours a fortnight, so slightly increased from what you have at the moment, which is 7. So you go to 8 periods of maths per fortnight. In science, this is probably one of the biggest differences. You'll actually go to having 10 hours of science a fortnight, and that's divided up into chemistry, biology and physics. Now at Warden Park, because of our 3-year Key Stage 4, we expect majority of our students to go on to study triple science. So you'll all have the opportunity to do that. And the decision about whether you study 3 or 2 sciences comes much later. So you don't have to worry about making any such decision, and your teachers will guide you through that process later down the line. So everybody will study the English, maths and science subjects. You will still have core PE, so the PE that everybody does. It's important for your physical and mental well-being. Really important that we keep you active throughout your secondary school career. So you'll have 2 periods per fortnight of learning about life and 2 periods per fortnight of PE. Learning about life changes slightly in Year 9. Instead of staying in the same class throughout the year, you'll actually form part of a carousel, and we have specialist teachers on different topics, and you'll move teachers throughout the year. So it works a little bit differently, and students really like it because they get a range of teachers who have a range of knowledge and experience on the important topics in learning about life. Here's where we get into the exciting part of your options. So we will ask you to choose 5 options. So the important number is you're going to be choosing 5 subjects that you want to study in Key Stage 4 or Years 9, 10 and 11. Now, how do you make those choices, or where do they come from? The first choice you have to make is from what we call the compulsory bucket. And that's from a range of subjects that we know will give you great skills and qualities that will go on to help you in any subject or career that you do. And so this helps us to make sure that you are studying a broad and balanced range of subjects. So you must take one of history, geography, Spanish, French or computer science. Now you can in fact take 2 of those, but we're saying you must take 1. You could in fact take 3 of those, but you must take 1. So that's your first choice. That's called the compulsory option. We then move into the next bucket called the open ones. And again, there are a huge range of subjects in here, and I'll talk about them in a moment. But in here, we ask you to choose a further 4. Now, I've asked you to make 5 choices, but actually you will only study 4 of them. And I get you to make 1 extra choice because you can imagine my job is to make, it's a bit like a big puzzle. I have to get all of you into all of your subjects that you want. So choosing 5 of which you will be given 4 is the way that helps me to do that and get you in as many of your choices as possible. So to repeat, you will choose 5 that you want to study and we will allocate you 4. And for each of those 4 options, you will study those for 5 hours per fortnight. So just to reiterate, you're going to choose 1 from the compulsory section. So that's geography, history, French, Spanish or computer science. You'll then take a further 4 choices, of which you'll be allocated 3. And here's the exciting list. So I'm going to ask your tutors to pause the video here for just a moment and you can have a look at the list of subjects. Now, some of these subjects you'll have heard of before, and in fact, you'll have some already on your timetable, but others will be completely new to you. So let's pause the list and have a look at the exciting range of subjects. Now, I mentioned a key character trait that you would be working on throughout options is curious. Being curious means you're eager or to learn about new things. So some of the subjects on that list you will be unfamiliar with. And so your job first and foremost next week will be learning about those new subjects. And you're going to spend each day getting to learn about something that's new to you. Now, in Mr. Kenrick's video, he said, don't be afraid of things that are unknown. And that's what I really want you to think about. I want you all to listen to those videos next week and show that you're being curious by learning about new things. Now, I just want to say something about 2 subjects that we introduced back in 2020, Ingenium and RAISE. So they're very new to us. We've got 2 cohorts currently studying these subjects. Let me talk about Ingenium. Ingenium is actually the Latin word for character, and Ingenium is a really special type of GCSE. It's where you choose a subject that we don't offer and you actually study it independently. And so we create little study trios of 3 students who are studying things like psychology, sociology, ancient history, and you're responsible for designing that learning. And we're empowering students to choose that subject and take yourselves through that style of learning. Something very, very unique to us here. Now, to do that type of course, you do have to be highly independent and highly motivated. And in fact, there's a separate application process to get yourself onto the Ingenium course. So for those of you that sounds like something that might be intriguing to you, there's a video next week that will tell you a bit more about it. The other subject that's new for us, as I said, we've got 2 cohorts currently, is RAISE. And that's a special course, again, designed to really help students be successful across their other subjects. It's about helping you to care about your community, care about others, care about yourself. And we're really excited that we'll be incorporating the Duke of Edinburgh into that particular option throughout years 9, 10 and 11. But more to come on that later. So keep a lookout for the information about those two courses. So something else that will be quite different as you move into Key Stage 4 is how you're graded. And so in fact, when you get into year 9, again, you're empowered, and I'm going to talk about that word in a moment, to set your own targets, and you'll be working with new grading systems. Now, GCSE's changed a few years back, so if some of you have got older siblings who got A's and A stars and B's, that grading system left us back in 2015. And so since then, we've been working with a numbered system from 9 down to 1. So they're the new GCSE grading systems, 9 to 1. Now we have a course, child development, that is graded slightly differently, and that's graded with merits and distinctions, and that's a vocational qualification. So that, again, there'll be a video about that course next week that you can watch. Remember at the start, I said one of the key words was empowered. Now, the aim of our curriculum is to help you to feel empowered. And that means to give you or to give someone the confidence and power to control something. So options really is an opportunity for you to be empowered and take control of your learning by choosing the subjects that you love and being able to do them from year 9 onwards. Choosing options can be somewhat daunting for some students. For other students, you probably already have a really good idea about what it is you're going to choose. But for some, it can feel a little bit scary. Now, remember Mr. Kenrick's words were to embrace the challenge. Now, you're in control here. We are empowering you to choose your pathway and take control of your learning and study what you love. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to make sure that you make the right choices? Well, we've got lots of events and activities. It's my job to make sure that you feel confident in making those choices. So of course, you've got this video where I've hopefully started to answer some of the big questions. We're going to watch a series of videos next week about subjects that you are not familiar with or that you don't study at the moment. There'll be some quiz activities, competing as tutor groups at the end of each of those videos. Next week, I'm going to release a website which has so much information on it, all about the different subjects, all about the different help available to you. So that will be released next week, along with some videos for your parents that I would encourage you to watch at home with your parents. There's a little bit of different information on there about some of the specifics in the choices, like how to rank them, how they get allocated, and some further information about some subjects and how it all works when we get to that part in the summer term. You've already had some learning about life lessons where you started to think about what your strengths, your qualities and your likes and dislikes were. And that was really in the build up to helping you figure out what you enjoy. So you have already had a little bit of preparation about making these choices. As I said, we are going to watch subject videos next week. There'll be one each day. And as I said, some competition at the end of each of those videos. So you're going to show your curiosity by being engaged in that video. Even if you think it's not for you, you're going to listen, you're going to find out about it, and then you're going to compete as tutor groups. And of course, there might even be a prize for the tutor group who shows that they are the most engaged by answering the most correct questions. There'll also be a series of taster activities, and next week I'm going to give you a calendar that tells you all about when your tasters are. And there'll also be a chance to opt into some tasters in the subjects that you don't study yet. You've got your Year 8 reporting evening on Thursday the 27th of January, and that's a chance to talk to your teachers about how you're doing. Are you doing well? Where are your strengths? Where are you really excelling? Because that might be some important information in helping you to narrow down your choices. I'll be coming around to each of the tutor groups over the course of the next few weeks and to be able to have a chat with you about your choices, any questions, and talk to you about some of the subjects and what other students say about those subjects. There'll also be some of you that have one-to-one meetings with either myself, Miss Brooker, Mr. Schofield, Mrs. Griggs, or their team down in Additional Learning. For those of you that might need a little bit of further support in making those choices. So we've talked about why the choices are important. We've talked about the types of choices you're going to make. Now let's talk about what to think about when you're actually making those choices. So you need to think about what your current strengths are. Where are you excelling? Where are you doing really well? A lot of the time when we're doing well, that's when we feel happiest and when we feel most motivated. So think about the subjects where you've currently shown some real strengths. Think about what you're passionate about, and even if it's not your strongest subject but you absolutely love it, have you got the determination to be successful in that subject? So think about what you're passionate about, what you love. What do you enjoy? What do you really enjoy doing? What do you see on your timetable and think, oh yes, I've got that lesson? What do you enjoy? Embrace the challenge, even if you find it a bit difficult. If you really love it, then maybe that's something that you should choose. Talk to those who know you. Talk to your parents, older siblings, talk to your friends. But remember, these are your choices and it's you that we want to empower to make those choices. So talking to other people is great, but remember, ultimately, it's you in those subjects. And as it is you in those subjects, you need to make sure you're interested in the subject. You need to think about if you'll enjoy the topics. So when you're looking at the options website in the coming weeks, don't just look at the title, make sure you're looking at the topics. What are all of the parts of that course that you are going to study? Will it suit your way of learning? Do you enjoy practical activities? Do you have the skills required? And if not, which is absolutely fine, are you prepared to work and develop those skills in order to be successful in that subject? Could it help with the next stage? Have you got an idea about what you want to do? Will it be a great way to introduce you to potential career? Think about the skills and qualities that you might need in that type of job. And what do your parents and teachers think? Do they think it would be a good choice for you? As well as thinking about why we should choose subjects, it's also important to think about why we might not choose a specific subject or why a particular choice is not the right one for you. Please don't choose subjects based on what your friends will choose. Firstly, you might not be in their classes. It might not work with your combination of classes. And secondly, this is about your choice, your future. And it's important that the courses are right for you, not right for you and your friends. So make choices independently and think about what you want. Secondly, don't choose courses because you think they'll be easy. All GCSE courses present a challenge. They will all have elements of difficulty for all types of learners. So don't think one course is easier than another. Try to avoid thinking about, oh, that course is for girls or that's for boys. Courses are for anyone and you can do whatever you want to do. So ignore those preconceptions about what courses might be right for one gender or another. Any course is right if it's the one that you're passionate about. We've said talk to those that know you, and that's important, but do bear in mind it's your choice. So think about if it's something you really want to do. And of course, lastly, please don't choose a subject solely based on the teacher that you have now. Your teacher is likely to change from year 8 to year 9. So please make sure, as well as you know, the teachers in those subjects, think about the topic and make sure that you're choosing it for the right reasons. So we're starting to get there in terms of getting some of those big questions answered, I hope. We've talked about why the choices are important, the choices you'll make, some advice about making those choices. Now, actually, when it gets to the end of this process, how will you actually physically make your choices? Now, we make our choices through an online system, and later in the half term, you'll receive an email, you'll come down to an IT room, you'll have a session with myself and the data team, and we'll help you figure out how to use the system and make those choices. You submit the choices, and then your parents or your carers go online to approve your choices. But very important, it's you that must log in to make those choices. And we'll talk about that more when you come down to the IT room and I'll get you set up and logged on. The final date, sort of when options comes to an end, is just after half term, and that your choices deadline is 3 p.m. Monday, the 28th of February. So we've got all of this half term, the February half term, but choices all must be in by the Monday we come back. So a lot of time to think about it, and lots of time to really check your choices, and hopefully you feel that we've got lots of events coming up to support you. Now, the final character trait or important keyword I mentioned was organised. Now, going through the options process, it's going to be really important that you are organised. And to be organised means to be prepared, to be aware of the communication, aware of deadlines. One way in which you will help to do that is through successful management of your emails. Now, I do occasionally hear students say, oh, I don't check my emails. Oh, I don't read my emails. Well, actually, emails is one of the key ways we communicate with you here at school. So your first task after the second day, so on Friday at the end of the assembly, is you're going to go in and check that you've received an email from me. Now, sometimes our emails go to your junk mail. So what I want you to do is go in and have a look at your emails and get on top of your email. That might mean clearing a load of messages out, ready to start receiving and being able to see emails from myself, your tutors, clearly. So emails is one of the main ways I'll be sending you reminders, sending you updates, as well as through your tutors. But I'd really like you to be organised and aware of those deadlines by reading and accessing your emails. So 3 character traits to be focusing on. Be curious about what subjects are on offer. Find out all about them. You're empowered. Take control of the subjects that you're choosing by being curious and making good choices, and being organised by staying on top of your emails, being a tutor on time, being in school every day, and that will ensure that you will make some great choices and have an excellent experience throughout Key Stage 4. So you've got 2 very short tasks now to complete following this video. One is, as I said, checking your emails, and 2, very short Google form for you to complete from me, which just provides me with some key information and feedback following these videos. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to working with you throughout the options process.